Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Monday, February 7th, 2011, and I'm Darko. New listeners, please visit my website, www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. Well, we finished with this article, Egypt, the U.S., and the Israel lobby, and we'll just finish up with these two paragraphs right here, and then we'll move on to a bunch of other articles that I have to cover. And it says here, Israeli leaders and outside observers realized from the very beginning that the only way to maintain such a violently imposed, ethnically based nation state was through military dominance of the region. For Israel to achieve this military dominance required two things: the creation of a military more powerful than all the others in the region combined, along with having more nukes combined. Israel has achieved this through a uniquely massive influx of U.S. tax dollars and technology, occasionally purloined, but largely procured through the machinations of its lobby. I'm not sure about that word, but among other things, Israel has several hundred nuclear weapons. So that's what I was talking about, a fact almost never mentioned by American media or the American government. And number two, the prevention of any other nation in the region from becoming a threat. Israel has attained this goal through several strategies: divide and conquer, techniques, direct invasions and attacks, or pushing the U.S. to carry out attacks, and the propping up of despots who would openly or, tacitly agree, sometimes in return for similarly large influxes of American tax money, not to support the rights of those oppressed and ethnically cleansed by Israel. So, lastly, for the past 30 years, Egypt has been among those despotic regimes supported by the U.S. and Israel in return for turning its back on Palestinians, talking about the ethnic cleansing that went on, in the late 70s, early 80s. Goes here, it says U.S. favors current Egypt power structure. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has voiced her support for embattled Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak, alleging that his early exit could raise electoral complications. So we'll keep moving here. Mubarak offered refuge in Germany, and German parliamentarians have agreed to allow the out-of-favor Egyptian president into Germany for an extended health checkups as anti-Mubarak protests enter their 14th day. So extended health checkups, huh? So is there a coup brewing in Egypt's army? The Egyptian army's passivity in the bloody protests suggests an internal conflict of agendas, one which would inspire a coup by lower-level officers, a former army commander tells Channel 4 News. So see, there you go. That's what I was talking about. The Egyptian army, I'm not really sure, but this is what it's been reported, is that they're very loyal to the people. So we'll see about that. And being that El Baradi's not going to run, and then basically Mubarak announced that he's going to not step down, even though they're calling for him to step down, that he will no longer run. So that, like I said in the last video, this opens the door for a military dictatorship or some kind of military leader general. And they'll do it in the form of a coup. So we have to be looking for that. And of course, if it's a coup, well, then there's a good chance that it could be the CIA behind it. Senior U.S. Marine says multiple platoons are headed to Egypt. So we already have the Connecticut National Air Guard and warships along with these Marines. A senior member of the U.S. Marine Corps is telling people multiple platoons are deploying to Egypt. A source tells us there is a system within U.S. Marines that alerts their immediate families of high-ranking Marines when the Marine will soon be deployed in an emergency situation where they will not be able to talk to their spouses or families. And of course, the reason: humanitarian mission to assist in the evacuation of U.S. citizens. Egypt approves 15% raise for government employees, so they're pretty much the last ditched effort to try to bribe the people. And it says here, thank you and goodbye. For good or ill, change is coming to Egypt and Saudi Arabia soon. This is what? July 15th, 2010. Just read the first paragraph. The fate of the Arab world's two most important states lies in the hands of aging autocrats. Mr. Hosni Mubarak, an 82-year-old Air Force general who has ruled Egypt since 1981, is widely reported to be grievously ill. Oh, so maybe that's why he's in the hospital. All right, that makes sense. King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia, who assumed the throne of the Arabs' richest country 5 years ago, but the show for longer, is reckoned to be 86. The Grim Reaper will bring change in both places soon. So there you go. Like I said, that was in July of last year. Perfect storm of unrest in the Middle East. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has warned that the status quo in the Middle East is unsustainable and the region is going towards instability. And those people are burning American flags. Basically, they realize that Mubarak isn't going because that's the West, the Israel's and the United States' guy, and Britain's. It ain't just Mubarak. 7 of the worst dictators the U.S. is backing to the hilt, from Saudi Arabia to Uzbekistan to Chad. The U.S. keeps some very bad autocrats in power. Embattled Egyptian President Mubarak, whose regime has received billions in U.S. aid, has been in the global media spotlight of late. He's been our bastard, but he's not alone. And it says Paul Biya from Cameroon since winning election in 1983, was the only candidate and did pretty well, getting 99% of the vote. It says here, can't pronounce that name, from Turkmenistan. And he came to power in 2006 when his predecessor died, and the constitutionally mandated successor was thrown into jail. Number 3, Mr. Nguema from Equatorial Guinea. And 32 years ago, he was deposed and then executed, his uncle, in a bloody coup. And moving down here, you can pretty much read these if you want. The links will be posted. We are worried about any change in Egypt. Shimon Peres says Jerusalem. Israeli President Shimon Peres Saturday expressed concern about the changes that the revolts in Egypt may bring to the Middle East. Now they're worried about them. Remember, I just covered this, right? They're worried about them being the powerhouse in that area. EU and US create 87 million euro anti-Lushenko war chest. So you check this out. Link will be posted. And it's at a pro-democracy fundraiser in Warsaw. Polish Foreign Minister Radek Sikorski compared Belarus to Tunisia and told Belarusian leader Alexander Lushenko he will not last long. And the biggest word here is the cash is to be spent on a mixed bag of programs, including the relief victims of repression, NGOs, independent media, and higher indoctrination for Belarusian students. Next up, donors pledge $120 million aid for Belarus opposition. So there you go. And it's the West buying out the opposition, color revolutions, CIA coups. U.S. ambassador presses Pakistan's president to release American officials. So this story is still in the news right now, mostly because Pakistan is not releasing this individual who was reported to have shot and I believe killed basically some Pakistanis because he thought that they were trying to rob him. It says here, the U.S. ambassador to Pakistan pressed the country's president Monday to release an American official who Washington says was illegally detained after he shot and killed 2 men trying to rob him in the eastern city of Lahore. And so why was it illegal? How was he illegally detained? Well, if he was an ordinary slave, just happened to be over there, an American, well, it wouldn't be illegal. But because he's an American diplomat, he basically has diplomatic, oh, here we go. See, I already knew it. I just wanted to find it here. Because he has diplomatic immunity. So there you go. Pakistan anger soars over Davis killings. Hundreds of Pakistanis have held a demonstration against the United States in the city of Lahore to condemn, the killing of 3 Pakistanis by a U.S. diplomat last month. And rights groups, political activists rallied in front of the U.S. consulate in Lahore and chanted anti-U.S. slogans, a Press TV correspondent reported on Monday. So, and we're going to move on here. Look at this. Pakistani woman commits suicide after U.S. shooting. I believe she ended up living from that attempt. But the weird thing is that when I tried putting in this title, and this is notorious for the AP, basically you couldn't find it. All it was saying was that it kept coming up with this title, U.S. ambassador presses Pakistan's president to release American official. Well, I'm like, okay, that's nice, but I'm putting in this title. Why is it not coming it up? And that's because the AP is very sneaky. Some like these other sites, well, they'll change their headlines because, well, it doesn't portray the U.S. in the best light, right? So they just put that in there. It says the wife of a Pakistani man shot and killed by a U.S. official committed suicide by eating rat poison Sunday, explaining before she died that she was driven to act by fears the Americans would be freed without trial, which he will. So she's right. And that's just how, the different cultures think. They don't think like Americans. Americans just think that everything can be done in the courts. And it can't be. And sometimes you can say tribal justice is the way to go. I hate to say it, but The court system in America is made, and basically that's when they talk about democracy, the powers that be, and all these NGOs and that. When they talk about spreading democracy, they're talking about spreading their economic little policy, right? Their economic policy of what? Free trade, exploiting low-wage workers. But the other thing is they need to try to spread their justice system, their legal system, which basically shields corporations and people that have a lot of money. So just ordinary people, such as the woman, the family member of this individual who was shot by this diplomat, she's not going to stand a chance, right? If he goes back to the U.S., they're not going to do anything. But she has a better chance if they keep him in the United States. U.S.-led forces killed 2 Afghan civilians. U.S.-led forces have killed 2 Afghan civilians and seriously injured another one in Afghan southern Helmand province, a foreign company announces. It says here, Afghan district chief assassinated. Then we'll move on here. Afghans working with UK troops regularly smoke opium. Oops. A culture of drug taking and indiscipline exists among Afghan nationals working with the British troops. And they said that they came in there and shot this guy. He was basically working with them, being trained by them, and he came in there and did that, killed them. So, and then you go down here and it says basically it was cannabis and opium. And basically cannabis, I guess, I didn't know this, but I guess cannabis incites violence. I guess, you know, smoking cannabis incites an individual to basically go and just machine gun down 5 people. I've never heard of anything like that. I've never, you know, seen anything or read anything about that. But maybe it's true. I don't know. Maybe we should just ban cannabis, right? Because cannabis was the cause of these persons' deaths. No, it wasn't. It had more to do with, had a lot more to do with politics and those people working with these people because they have money, because they're getting paid. And they are controlling, these people are controlling the opium trade. So, you know what I'm saying? They're getting, they're basically losing their wealth, the Afghans. So they do have a little animosity towards these people, and I think it has more to do with that than it does someone just smoking cannabis. Israeli pullout from Lebanese village on hold. Oh, that's no surprise. The political turmoil in Lebanon has delayed Israeli plans to pull out of the northern part of the village straddling the country's border, an Israeli official said on Monday. Lebanon, U.S. warships, distorted internet. This is interesting. Lebanon's caretaker, telecoms minister Charbel Nahas has confirmed news saying that the presence of an American warship has caused distortion in its internet system. And he says here on Saturday that the U.S. ship has been the source of the problem, noting, quote, the problem, however, is due to a coordination error related to waves, Lebanese website Naharit reported. And we'll move down to this little nugget of info. The telecommunications sector has also been a victim of Israel's espionage activities in the country, according to Nahas' comments during a November press conference. And it's been reported. I've been covering this for the past 6 months about drones and actual telecom spies in Lebanon being caught. Israel vows new settlement in Al-Quds, so we already know about that. Gaza patients in critical condition. Gaza Health Ministry has warned that the current shortage of medicine due to Israel's blockade has caused a serious health disaster for Palestinian patients. Then we have Jews enjoy divine protection in U.S. Being a Muslim or a Jew makes a difference, a real difference in the U.S., as American authorities have double standards in treating the followers of each religion, says an American writer and analysis. Says U.S. authorities would not treat Jewish students the same way they treat Muslims. Mark Glenn, co-founder of Crescent Cross Solidarity Movement, told Press TV's U.S. desk on Sunday. Glenn, one of the most eloquent and courageous critics of Judaism, said U.S. officials have all adopted double standards in dealing with Jews and Muslims regarding the judiciary. So you can check that out. The link will be posted in the video's description. Serbia holds biggest opposition protest in years. Serb protesters call for early elections. Thai-Cambodia clashes continue. It's the 4th day now. They've been having clashes out there. Police clash with protesters in Dhaka. And this is in Bangladesh. That's still a hot spot. Police detain anti-Berlusconi protesters. I like that little prison there. Italian town's burqa ban makes headlines. And they're doing that in France too. Chechnya separatists threaten Russia, saying they're going to bring more violence. Londoners step up, cuts protests for their tuition. UK sought to facilitate bombers' release. The UK got pretty much busted for making a deal with the Lockerbie bomber. Former Haiti leader free to return. This is interesting because I covered this before about Haiti. This is an individual, this John Bertrand Artisan. I believe he's actually a good person that represents the people in Haiti, and I think he's trying to come back. So, but you never know who he's backed by. I'm going to leave you with this article right here. You might be a terrorist too. And we'll return in the third and final part of this news bulletin for February 7th, 2011. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.